Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up on Our News tonight, the F&M chairman labels labor unrest as political tactics. The head of a local hospital calls for residents to stick to hanging in social bubbles. One political party promising a diversified economy if elected. And a little later, we take a look at the most memorable quotes and moments in this week's news. Plus, healthcare experts give advice for a safe start to the school year. Welcome to Our News Weekend, and thanks for joining us. I'm Georgie O'Bain. It's Sunday, August 22nd. Let's take a look at what's topping news tonight. It appears that the labor unrest that's brewing in the country isn't facing the Free National Movement. This as the party chairman told our Berthany McDermott that it's nothing more than PLP ploys.
F&M Chairman Carl Colmer is calling recent union unrest nothing more than a PLP tactic designed to catapult the party to power. His comments come days after Bahamas Power and Light workers walked off the job and as the Public Hospitals Authority experienced the days-long sick-out. The Bahamas Union of Teachers has also threatened industrial action.
That is a tactic of the PLP. They always, they came to power on the backs of the trade union movement back in '67. It was the unions that shut down the country. They used the unions to gain power, and then when they gained power through the unions, they kicked them on the side.
On Friday, Trade Union Congress President Obi Ferguson said he's advising his members to vote their interests and slam the Minister administration's treatment of the workers. However, Colmer says he believes union members will make the right choice when it's time to mark their X.
I believe union leaders and the members of the union will realize that, hey, at the end of the day, when they go into the box, the ballot box, they will realize that, hey, we have the PLP and we have the F&M. And when they look at both of them, when they look at the leadership, they look at how the team has been working together and how the teams have been fulfilling and bringing the country through these rough times. There's no comparison.
When asked if the party is concerned about the state of labor in the country, Colmer said he believes the union leaders will not be used.
I feel that the union leaders would sit down and understand that, hey, they will not be used this time by the PLP to gain the advantage going forward.
Right, but what I mean by concern, that you don't think it'll impact you at the polls?
I believe that Bahamian people at the end of the day will understand that the best party, the best leadership team to run this country is the F&M.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
A hospital chief is urging Bahamians to stick to strict social bubbles and adhere to health regulations as the healthcare system is struggling. And he says that healthcare managers are struggling to manage the deadly wave of COVID-19. Our Jared Higgs tells us more.
With a troubling health situation in the country, top officials are urging Bahamians to follow health guidelines.
The challenge in an environment where you do not have a majority of vaccinated persons is how do you start to draw the line on what's responsible behavior?
The country's public and private hospitals have bore the brunt, with PMH and Doctors Hospital reporting crisis level care at both facilities. Doctors Hospital CEO Dr. Charles Digges has seen it firsthand.
Clearly, Bahamians need to be reminded as oft as possible that if you can function within a social bubble, restricted social contacts is a very good idea because we're trying to mitigate transmission. We're trying to mitigate exposure.
Immediate toward PMH, where makeshift COVID wards house 60-plus COVID patients on any given day. Doctors Hospital has also had to repurpose many of its spaces to deal with the influx of patients seeking care. Oxygen supplies are low and staff are overworked. Patients seeking non-emergency care can't be served at the hospital as it prioritizes the most serious cases. Digges says more surveillance could improve the situation.
Testing. Secondly, as a strategy, very important because that is going to enable us to know where exactly and who exactly has the virus and what exactly do they need to do as far as themselves quarantining and isolating. So testing needs to be And the government clearly has a strategy for that. But to the extent that we at Doctors Hospital can continue to ramp that up and focus on that, that second one, yes, needs to be encouraged. Let's find out where it is, and let's combine the mitigation, the social disconnection, then with the testing.
Reporting for Our News Weekend, I'm Jared Higgs.
Well, thousands of families across the country are preparing for the new school year. But according to doctors, they're reminding parents to take steps to ensure that their children are safe, even if they will not be entering a classroom in the coming weeks. Our Christina Dragovich tells us more.
COVID is not just a disease, but it's affecting our children mentally, educationally, health-wise. We've seen an increased risk of obesity. We've seen an increased risk of chronic diseases in our children because of inactivity. And so as we prepare for back to school, we want our parents to ensure that they're mindful that COVID has not gone anywhere. It's still here. It's still very prevalent in our society, and we have to definitely take our precautions. But
parents just need to reiterate to their kids about the safety measures, to practice at home with the little ones, so that when they get to school, it's second nature. So I have a 2-year-old niece, and the minute we say put on your mask, she has no problems with it.
The Bahamas began the rollout of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine for children as young as 12 on Thursday. Dr. Deshaun Saunders and Dr. Sherelle Lockhart say parents should be practicing safe practices with their children. While vaccination is a personal choice that families will make for their children, Dr. Lockhart says children are still at risk of severe illness from the disease or even death. This as pediatricians are seeing some of the long-term effects the disease and the pandemic are having on younger populations.
Talk to the kids about the importance of doing those things that will help to protect us, even if we don't decide to vaccinate them. And that's an individual choice, and we respect parents' choice as to what they feel is best for their kids. But we did want parents to know, and the general public to know, that the majority of pediatricians in the Bahamas do endorse giving these children COVID-19 vaccine, the Pfizer.
Because of COVID, we've not seen our regular well visits, and so we're encouraging parents not to neglect that. And there is no contraindication to getting your regular vaccines and the COVID vaccine. So some parents have concerns that because they have to vaccinate their child for COVID and their child is delayed, that they should wait. No. Studies and also approval has been given that the COVID vaccine can be given concurrently with your regular vaccines.
So what else can parents do to keep their kids safe this school year? Dr. Saunders says there's one thing all adults should consider.
Parents should be vaccinated. Moving on from parents, their older children should be vaccinated. I call it a circle effect, holding hands, because if the adults are vaccinated, the older kids are vaccinated, we create a ring around our smaller kids and then basically create herd immunity, and that allows protection for the younger ones.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Christina Dragovich.
Well, still to come on Our News Weekend, the FNM chairman defending the move to prorogue the House ahead of the open parliament. Later, a Bahamian songwriter looking to write some catchy tunes this election season. But first, we take a look at why a local doctor is saying that the future of healthcare looks grim. That's coming up when Our News Weekend returns.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
Watching Our News Weekend. Thanks for staying with us. Well, a local anesthesiologist weighing in on the future of the COVID-19 pandemic here in the Bahamas, stating that the pandemic is likely to crush the healthcare system. Consultant anesthesiologist Dr. Mark Weech mincing no words appearing on our TV show On the Record this week as he described the strength of the COVID-19 Delta variant. According to Weech, the Delta variant leaves the body demanding more oxygen that it simply cannot produce.
So Alpha was more potent in terms of its virulence or its infectivity than the wild type. And Delta is off the charts. So Delta is 1,000 times more virulent than the wild type. So if you had one virus in your nose, when you got the wild type a year ago, you're having 1,000 in your nose with Delta, and this is the problem. So it's overwhelming the local immune system, so you may get a cold-like symptoms, you may get, if you're fully vaccinated, you may lose your sense of smell, but it's not likely you're going to get it invading into you and causing a pneumonia and severe illness, which would lead to hospitalization, going on a ventilator, or even dying.
Weech called on residents to be more health cautious when it comes to hanging out in large crowds. He says the healthcare system can't handle the current number of COVID-19 patients.
You may die even when you go in for a ruptured appendix, you can't get into the hospital, okay? Or if you get into the hospital, you can catch COVID from the patient sitting next to you who don't know they have COVID. That's the immediate problem. The future is, this is going to crush us. But like I said, we have a lot of friends, we have a lot of philanthropy, we may get through it. I will also say to you, COVID is going to be like the flu, and it is very likely to be with us for a long, long time.
According to Weech, the future of COVID-19 in the Bahamas seems grim.
You're really dying because a lot of that is just lack of oxygen. You need extra oxygen when you have a pneumonia. And if you don't have it and you're home, you could have a heart attack, a stroke, and just die. The immediate future is a lot more of our friends and family are going to die. That includes the people, especially who think that they can avoid this thing. What I will say to you is, if you elect not to be vaccinated, you really need to do the barrier methods. You really need to wear a good mask when you're inside with other people and when you're in crowded outside environments. You really need to sanitize, you really need to social distance, and you really need to curtail your activity.
The Free National Movement candidate for Mangrove Key, Central and South Andros has withdrawn from the upcoming general election due to health concerns. According to a statement issued by F&M Chairman Carl Culmer Saturday, the party has accepted Kenneth Smith's resignation and respects his right to privacy. We thank Kenneth for his willingness to sacrifice and serve the people of Andros. He will be missed on front line, and we wish him a speedy return to good health and God's blessings. A social media post by Carlisle Bethel of the Torchbearers Association has confirmed that D'Angelo Ferguson has been selected as the party's new candidate in that constituency. F&M Chairman Carl Culmer is setting the record straight on the seemingly hasty decision to prorogue House last Wednesday. Culmer says that the move was no attempt to hinder the House Speaker's open Parliament session and laughed off the suggestion.
House being dissolved the following day was an act by the party to stop him from having his open Parliament and trying to slight him.
More true is not a factor in the determination of the election. As you can see, our team is prepared, and if he was a factor, you would have noticed it. The day the House was prorogued, dissolved, you saw our teams on the ground putting out our paraphernalia. We have all our paraphernalia here. So I think he decided that 2 weeks ago. So he was not a factor in the decision of the dissolving of the House.
Following the prorogation of Parliament on Wednesday, Moutry told members of the media that police officers tried to stop him from holding the event. At the event, Moutry said that the government pulled the stunt so that they wouldn't have to answer to the people. Culmer was asked his thoughts on the first open Parliament session.
To be honest with you, I really didn't see it. I don't have a view on it because I was too busy with some other things. I really didn't see his open house that he had.
Well, when our News Weekend comes back from the break, a political party promises to diversify the economy. Plus, a Bahamian artist is looking to stretch his creative legs this election season. We'll have the details when our News Weekend returns.
Welcome to our news, and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
It's time to diversify the economy, according to DNA candidate Lamont Nixon, who says COVID-19 exposed why the Bahamas must focus on industries other than tourism. Diversify and change for the country are the two pillars of his election campaign.
Big idea, big goal is to assist the entrepreneurs, because the thing is, we need to come out of that job way of thinking. You know, this is the new Bahamas, so therefore we need to bring on a new economy. And my larger goal is to introduce a new economy as to where we're not only focusing on tourism, but we're focusing on other areas of other areas of the industry, as to where we need to focus more on agriculture, we need to focus more on fisheries, we need to focus more on manufacturing. There's a lot more things that we could do, because right now the Bahamas is only working on one cylinder, which is tourism.
The political newcomer says he decided to run to give his service to his country. The real estate agent says he knew that he wanted to give his help on a larger scale, that it would have to be from Parliament. He said that he wants to get creative with his campaign tactics as to not allow campaign workers to get vaccinated.
Based on the last registry, we do have a lot of people's phone numbers, so we're making the calls, you know, and those who are vaccinated are going out there and still knocking on doors for us. So we of course we have to adjust based on the new orders, but we're making it. We're doing the runs.
Nixon is the DNA's candidate for Golden Gates. Well, he's been making music for some of the biggest moments in recent Bahamian history, and now Solo is looking to have a bit of fun this election season. He spoke with our Kyle Joaquin.
That could have never been one of us black brothers. Never. Yo, would have punch him up, slap him up until he cry out for his mother.
His name is Joel Dill, but the country has come to know him as Solo. COVID-19 ambassador on the scene. A gospel artist making catchy songs aimed at lightening the mood in serious situations. Solo says it all started just a few years ago when he was joking around with his friends.
Well, what got me started was first a challenge from a few friends of mine, Vanessa Rule, Keith Clark, and they told me I needed to do a song about the bridge toll going up $2, which was probably like about 3-4 years now. Yeah, so I went inside the booth and I come up with the song that night, and then within the morning I shared it, went viral. The people trying to take all our quarters. The bridge toll gone up $2, and it started from there.
Since then, Bahamians have come to look forward to his musical take on topical issues, and he's enjoying the ride.
I mean, now I get alerted, you know, some persons and fans, they be like, well, so you want to hear this, or we need a song, you know. But once I hear that it couldn't be a possible song and that it's something that's happening in the now, then that's the energy, and then I just grab the energy and then go to work from there.
Pay all the nice.
Man, give them they blasted money.
You're supposed to go and pay all the nice fines.
With the general election less than 4 weeks away, Solo says he's going to have a bit of fun with this one.
He pull a fast one right there. House of Parliament, he prorogue it.
So, genuinely, you really enjoy this?
Yeah, I enjoy it. This is my passion, you know what I mean? It's a part of my character. I'm a humorous person, you know, and I don't believe that. And those around me, they know that when they're around me, they can laugh.
His message to everyone?
Just want to encourage everybody, you know, follow your dreams, stay focused, you know, stay safe, and keep the Most High first.
4 Hour News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Well, who had the hottest quote of the week? The answer when our News Weekend returns.
Welcome to our news, and thanks for joining. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
It was a busy week in news, to say the least. Now it's time to count down some of the most memorable quotes and moments that we are sure not to forget anytime soon. First up was the eye-opening media tour of Princess Margaret Hospital COVID wards. Doctors and nurses put to reality the COVID crisis in their own words.
We passed the breaking point. And I don't know how you could be past the breaking point, but it is to that extent. We have hospital workers who themselves have lost their loved ones to COVID. And even in that, I've lost my father to COVID. And I had to pick myself up and remain in the fight.
And a moment many will soon not forget. After months of speculation, the Prime Minister finally rang the bell, declaring the date for the next general election.
That Parliament shall be and is hereby dissolved on the 19th day of August 2021.
In our democratic tradition, the people rule. Your collective wisdom will decide our way forward. Your collective wisdom will decide our shared future. All political parties should conduct their campaigns in keeping with public health guidelines.
That announcement led to this next moment. Irate Bahamians who rushed to the Parliamentary Registration Department just to be informed that the register is officially closed.
Between the COVID and Dorian and all that other stuff, and then you have a Prime Minister so sneaky, and just be straightforward. Just tell the people what it is and stop trying to play politics. He's hoping to do it the next election, but that ain't happening.
And I hope the Prime Minister is listening to me. Persons who came in from the family islands during that hurricane, if they have to get back to the family island to go and vote, I feel government should accommodate them with transportation to and forth.
If we missed any of your favorite quotes, be sure to tell us. Send us a message on the R News Bahamas Facebook page and we'll highlight your favorite moment. Well, thank you so much for joining us for our News Weekend. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Georgia Bain. The Prime Minister's national address comes up next. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.